Yeah, I joined the industry at 19 years of age. So, I'm hesitant to say that that's 31 years ago. So 31 years where this industry has taken me, really, I could never have ever envisaged to have worked in 2 continents and 10 countries doing the exact same thing that we do day in and day out. People ask me the question when I look back, what is it that I have learned most? There are several things. One thing that really stands out for me is that in all the travels and all the experiences that I've been fortunate to have, the names and the faces are different, but the problems and the challenges and the opportunities remain the same all over the world in this industry. What I would say is that the most important thing that I've learned is that, and you might want to write this down because it has stayed with me throughout my entire career, and it will to the day I retire. Nothing happens until someone sells something. Nothing happens until someone sells something. And we do good things. We do good things. And what I mean by that, folks, is that, you can sit in the ivory tower, you can read all the best books in the world, you can go to all the best motivational lectures, and events. But the reality is that, nothing happens till somebody sells a policy. That's the most important thing. So no matter what we do, it has to be around, developing a positive environment, a conducive environment where people can succeed, in this profession. And the other part, as I just said there, we do good things. And I'll come back to that in just a few moments. But, Dan said, obviously you can gather from my accent, I'm from Ireland, the Emerald Isle. And I come from a very, very small rural village of about 2,500 people. So everybody knows everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. If something was to happen, you know exactly who done it, and etc. And it was a very small local community, very vibrant community. And in 1989, I had the opportunity. I was what you would call a personal field recruit. A person that was, I was in a convenience store. A cousin of mine had a convenience store, and this person came in and was pitching a presentation, and you won't believe this, on cancer products. And but that meant nothing to me at that moment in time. And being a young 19-year-old, this well-groomed, professional-looking individual was given a sales pitch, and then just turned to me and asked me about what I was doing and was I interested in the opportunity, back in 1989, to earn $50,000 or 50,000 pound in a year was a significant amount of money. And of course, every 19-year-old would say yes, not realizing actually what that journey meant and where it would start. So, like everybody, I found myself in what we call Sales Academy. I spent a week there learning about the sales practice, the sales process, the products, and I thought I knew everything when I came out. I thought there was nothing left to learn because I spent a week in a sales academy learning about what allegedly was the best sales system at that moment in time. I was very fortunate. I was field trained by one of my mentors, who I didn't know at the time would be one of my mentors. And that individual gave me the best first impression to the insurance industry. There was no excuses to clear the decks. We started at 9 o'clock every morning and we finished at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. every night, Monday to Friday, and made very clear that if Saturday was required, then that's what we had to do. And the point in that was that if you're not as committed at the front end, it's very seldom you gather that commitment over time. And they wanted to give me the best first impression. And I look back and I say to myself, I was very fortunate because I got the best first introduction, the best field training I feel that I could have got, and I had the best start to my career. I went on, 26 weeks of writing a standard of excellence. But that all sounds positive, and all sounds very motivating and uplifting. But let me share with you, after 2 weeks, I couldn't wait to quit. I couldn't wait to give up this job. I couldn't wait to get out of the industry. And I was one of the fortunate ones that was doing well. Why? Well, when I was in Sales Academy, I actually thought I knew everything. But all I was introduced to was the start of a sales process. To be successful in this business, you have to become a subject matter expert, and you have to commit yourself to being the best salesperson that you can be. And I wasn't a charismatic salesperson. I didn't have the ability or the charisma that some people have. If some people who are very fortunate had to do 2 hours of work, I had to do 7. If some people had to do 5 presentations, I probably had to do 10. What I did know was this, was no one should outwork me. And that was the part that I was in my favor, was my ability to work and keep working to perfect it. But I didn't know how to overcome rejection. I didn't know how to handle fear and timidity. I didn't know what self-motivators were, Audrey. I didn't know the discipline of having a work week schedule. I didn't know the importance, Sherry, of having goals and strong goals. All I thought was that I could go out, sell 2 or 3 policies before lunch, maybe sell a couple in the afternoon, and everything's okay. It doesn't work like that. It probably does for some people, but it didn't for me, So I had to learn the art of being a successful salesperson. And, when you're asking people to part with their hard-earned cash, you got to earn that right. And you can't go in there on the pretense of pretending you know what you're doing. You either do or you don't. We all work hard for our money. So to part with it, that's an investment and that's a commitment. And you got to create that value proposition that a person trusts you, believes in you, and what you're doing. But 2 or 3 times I felt like leaving the industry. And I always remember it was on a Thursday afternoon. I was doing well, but I packed my bags. There was greener grass on the other side, and I knew there was something bigger and better there for me. But I made one last call. And when I made that call, I met this 26-year-old guy, and I called to the door. He was already an existing customer, and his wife greeted me at the door, and I was looking for, let's say, Paul. And she said, "1 moment, I'll get Paul." So she goes, and she arrives back pushing Paul in a wheelchair, right? This guy was 26 years of age and had a 2-year-old daughter, 3-year-old daughter. Cut a long story short, that person was paralyzed from the neck down, all because of playing an amateur sport in Ireland, a rugby game. And in those days, you have scrums, and if the scrum collapses on top of you and it goes wrong, it can break your back. That's exactly what happened to this young guy. And he was 26 years of age. And he was confined to that position for the rest of his life, a young guy with a young family, young wife. And I felt so remorse when I saw him. But he was so positive and so uplifting and so gracious. He couldn't wait to convey his appreciation in relation to the claim that he got paid. Back in those days in 1989, to get over 200,000 was a significant amount of money, and it is a significant amount of money today. That 200,000, cleared his mortgage. That 200,000 put a roof over their head and guaranteed the future for his children or for his child as they move forward. And he was so gracious for that opportunity. So the bell just clicked with me. We do good things. Never ever forget, what we sell is guaranteed. Every one of us here in this Zoom call has been sick at some time or another. So what we sell is guaranteed. We just don't know when, we don't know where. And when everybody else is coming around looking for their mortgage payment, looking for their car payment, their insurance payment, We're the ones that are coming around giving them a check. And that's the difference. So that sparked with me in terms of, we do good things. This is a noble profession, you know. So then I decided I had to commit myself to the career, and that was, you know, advancing through the career track. And the next step in the career track was to become an agency builder. And you know, as an agency builder, I was fortunate. I was only 21 years of age, and I became an agency builder. And like everything, you know, this business it's simple in terms of what you say. I'm not saying it's easy. You know, there are three things. You got to recruit, you got to train, you got to sell. You know, and I thought I knew how to do those three things when I became an agency builder. So I wasn't listening to people. And I always remember at the end of my first quarter as an agency builder, I had 6 people on my team, but we were bottom of the table, right? Nobody was selling. Nobody was doing anything, Dan. And again, I was thinking of leaving, you know. But again, my mentor reached out to me and we sat down and we had a discussion. And what he conveyed to me was, listen, you know, you can do things your way, or you can listen and learn from wisdom, experience, knowledge, and know-how. And if you do what I ask you to do, then you will start to get some success. Now, I was recruiting people, but I wasn't really giving them the attention that they deserved. And I wasn't really working with the people I should be working with. I was hiring people. I wasn't building around people. And what I mean by that is that I was looking for anybody who was looking for a job, rather than looking for people who were hungry, people who wanted a career, and people who were going to work at least as hard as I was. Because if I'm going to bring somebody on board, I got to be committed to their success. I got to be committed to their future, to their families, to their loved ones, to their significant others. And out of those 6 people, you know, my mentor said to me, listen, pick one person, not the most talented, you know, but the person who's the most committed, the person who would walk on water if they could for you, or walk on fire. And I did. And I found that young lady. And that young lady, you know, we spent 3 weeks field training, getting her on a consistency standard of excellence, you know, getting to a string. And she went on to write 75 weeks of a standard of excellence. But when she did that, somebody else saw what she was doing and they replicated it. You know, cut a long story short, I was fortunate. At the end of the second quarter, we finished number 1. And we never looked back for 2 years onwards. The reasons for that was I identified mentors. And you're going to have mentors throughout all your life. And if you haven't, please open your eyes and look around. You know, you don't have to have just one mentor. You can have several of them, and several of them for different things. And I started to realize that, you know, mentors are people that are in your corner, that will advise you when sometimes you don't want to hear what you need to hear, and sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do. The second thing, you got to listen and learn. You know, we're all knowledgeable, and we all think we, at times, know it all. I can tell you, we don't. You know, nobody has the monopoly of wisdom. You know, listen and learn from people who've been there before you, who've trial and error, who've walked the walk, pick their good points, and develop those. The third part was to become a subject matter expert. What I mean by that, you know, become the best recruiter in this business. Become the best trainer in this business. Become the best salesperson. You know, you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you won't go. You know, you got to be down there leading people from the front, showing them what needs to be done, conveying the same desire and hunger that they have when they join with you. But identify those who want to work with you, and identify from those who have a wishbone rather than a backbone. The biggest asset that you have is your time. Once you spend your time, you can't get it back. So make sure you're investing your time in the right people. You know, and you know, never be afraid to ask people to be successful, or you know, demand people to be successful. That's why they joined you. Now, success is different to different people, but find out what motivates them. Understand this business. It's not complicated. It's really not. The United States of America is the most underserved supplemental insurance market in the world. It's over $1 trillion of revenue. Over $1 trillion. You know, and we as a company, this year, if everything was going right, would produce only $60 million plus. There's $1 trillion opportunity here, folks. You know? So this is the best opportunity in America in terms of our products. You know, they're guaranteed. You know, it's a win-win. If you don't use it, you get your money back. You can't lose. What greater value proposition is there than that? You know, recruit people. Today, unemployment is at almost at an all-time high. Close to 20 million people have registered for unemployment in the last 4 to 5, 6 weeks. That's 20 million people that are looking for opportunity, that are looking where you are today and saying, you know, if I had that opportunity, if I could do what you're doing, if I could be in control of my destiny, how much better would they feel today? You know? So we owe it to other people to recruit them to this best opportunity, where they can make 100,000 in a year, where they can make 150,000 a year, where they can make 200,000 in a year, where they can build up a bank of lifetime residual business. And the only thing you got to do is go to work. That's the only thing, you know? And then train people, bring people into the business and train them on the proper way to sell, the proper working habits. You know, if they don't want to do it, there's nothing you can do about that, but at least give them the best first opportunity, best first impression, you know? And sales, you know, when people aren't selling, they're not making money. And if people aren't making money, they're looking at other opportunities. And if they're looking at other opportunities, they're not as committed to this opportunity. You know, there's really no other place to go. You know, make this your home. This is the best opportunity in America. It's certainly the best opportunity within the supplemental insurance industry in the United States of America. It truly is, you know. And then I was very fortunate back in 1992 to become an agency owner. And again, you know, reaching out to mentors and going back and looking back in my career and saying to myself, what were the things that inspired me? What were the things that motivated me? You know, and one of those things was, there is no greater motivation than a positive vision, right? And as an agency owner, I had to create a positive vision within my agency. And that vision was the development of people. You know, I remember one of my mentors once saying to me when I was building my agency, I only had, I think it was 15 or 16 people in it at that stage. And he asked me the question, how many people you've got in your agency? I said 16. And he scratched his head and he looked at me and he said, I'll ask you the question again. How many people you got in your agency? And I said 16. You know, and he asked me the third time and he said, you know, I'm disappointed. I'm going to ask you the third time, how many people you got in your agency? And this time I started counting on my fingers, you know, 16. He said, Seamus, I'm disappointed. You actually have almost 40 people in your agency. And I stood back and I went, 40? Where are they? Did a group of people come out of sales class that I was unaware of? He said, no. All you're looking at is the person in front of you. You know, in life, it's usually 2.2, 2.3 is a family, a loved one, a child, a significant other. They're going back to their loved one, their significant other, and they're going to talk about the opportunity that you presented to them. They're going to talk about you as a leader. They're going to talk about the activities that you're engaged, the ambitions that you have for them, because you brought them into this opportunity. Now, if they fail, let them fail because you pushed them to be successful. But if you haven't invested in their success, then you have failed them as an individual. Don't do that. So development of people was crucial, you know, and work with high energy, hungry people. Develop bench strength. You know, everyone wants to develop, whether it's personal development, professional development, financial development. Find out what motivates people. Put a game plan in place and develop your people. You know, the key to success in this business is very simple. You know, when you become an agency builder, you know, as one of my mentors said to me, let me explain your job to you. When you're an agency builder, your job is to train your sales professionals to be at least as good as what you were, because that's what got you where you are, if not better. And as an agency owner, your job is to develop your agency builders to be at least as good as what you were as an agency builder, because that's what got you where. So you're always going down 1 or 2 levels to build your bench strength, you know. And in this business, new people, new blood, new opportunities is the success and the lifeline to this business. So going on to the corporate side for me, you know, in 2000, you know, that was a realization day, because that was a crossroads. You know, I was doing very well as an agency owner. I had, you know, 8 years of tremendous double-digit success. I think we had written something like $30-odd million of business accumulated in that period of time. And I was making very good money back in 1991, 92, which is relevant. I think my last year was close to about, you know, 400,000 sterling at that moment in time, which is probably about $600,000. You know, so why would I want to go to the corporate side? You know, and trust me, the corporate side didn't pay a hell of a lot, if anything. But somebody saw something in me, and they sat down with me, and they shared a vision of where they wanted to take the company, about new country expansion, about growing this organization, about success, and about the opportunity for personal and professional development, and to go on a journey with an organization. And I did. And I've never looked back. And I've been very, very fortunate. I've worked with some outstanding people. And this is what I've sort of learned in my period of time, is that, you know, it's never, ever, ever too late to be successful. It's never, ever too late to make a commitment to your self-growth, to your desire to succeed. Look, at the age of 23, Tina Fey was working at the YMCA. You know, at 23 years of age, Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first reporting job. At the age of 24, Stephen King was working as a janitor, you know, and living in a trailer park. At the age of 27, Vincent van Gogh failed as a missionary and decided to go to art school. At the age of 28, J.K. Rowling was suicidal, single parent living on welfare. And at the age of 30, Harrison Ford was a carpenter. Vera Wang failed to make the Olympic figure skating team, you know, and didn't get the editor-in-chief position at Vogue, and designed her first dress at 40. Samuel L. Jackson didn't get his first major movie until 46. Morgan Freeman landed his first major role at 52. So whatever your dream is, it's never too late to achieve it. And never tell yourself you're too old to make it. Never tell yourself you missed the opportunity. Never tell yourself you aren't good enough. You can't do it. Whatever it is. You see, 97% of people work in a job, and that's just over broke. All of them want an MBA, which is a massive bank account. They're clueless on how to create wealth and become rich, which is residual income that creates happiness, and continuously surround themselves with haters, having anger towards everyone reaching success, and then wonder why they're so poor, passing over opportunities repeatedly. Open your mind, make a decision, make a change your thinking, change your life. You know, the opportunity we have today is greater than ever before. We have obstacles in front of us because of COVID. That will pass. And when we come out the other side of it, hopefully the lesson that has been learned, that the products that we sell make a difference in the communities of where we live and work. The opportunities you have today is in your control. You control your habits, you control your emotions, your attitude, and your activities. Look for your mentors for guidance. And for some people, if work was in bed, they'd actually sleep on the floor. You know, let's make the opportunity we have now the most. I don't know about you. You know, some people say there's an afterlife. I've never seen it, and I hope there is. But one thing I do know is that this is not a dress rehearsal. Have no regrets. Make every moment count. You have the best opportunity in America. Make it happen.